Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories, where we play tales to take you away from today. What do you know about toadstools?
I like that.
Well, we educate you on this edition of Ron's Amazing Stories. We also have aliens and humans at war, a trip to the English Channel in 1940, and of course, Vito Paparello.
Wow.
In fact, what do you say we meet Vito right now in this segment we call What's That You Say? Well, I say we've got something special on the show today. What we have is a listener that has called in and said he wants to tell his story in person, and I think it's pretty amazing. I introduce to you Vito Paparello. Welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here, Ron.
Let's begin with why you wanted to call Ron's Amazing Stories and tell your story.
Well, honestly, Ron, not many stories such as this one have happened. We teetered around the idea of considering it to be, maybe a rags to riches story. However, the reality of it is that, opportunity comes in all shapes and sizes, and it never looks like you think it's going to look, based on either your preconceived notions or worse, stereotypes.
Well, I got to say, when I first heard your story, I thought, man, that is incredible. So how about we just jump right in and you tell us what happened?
Okay, so essentially, roughly now about 3.5, 4 years ago, I was living in Southwest Florida at the time. I had I guess I had choices in my life at one time or another that put me in a position to not fulfill my potential, not essentially live up to the expectation of what my life should have been at the time. I was making decisions in effect to mitigate maybe taking a chance. I had failed at things in the past, albeit business endeavors and otherwise. I didn't essentially at the time really understand what it took, to be successful and to put yourself out there, and I kind of quit. So I found myself playing basketball just pretty consistently at a place in Southwest Florida named Bonita Springs. And I ran into a gentleman that was playing with his nephew quite often. I didn't know who he was. He was a bit abrasive on the court and loud, but he was having a lot of fun. And one day, nobody was really talking to this guy. He was I've been playing at this gym, I should say, for now about 5 years consecutively and consistently. And he was new. And nobody really embraced him, gave him a chance. Long story short, a few months into playing with him consistently, he hurts his ankle. And in hurting his ankle, I just very casually said, listen, let me help you to your car, pal. It's pretty sensitive. It looks like it's a pretty bad sprain. I would like to, just make sure you get down there okay as a matter of fact. Or why don't you give me your keys? It's bad enough where maybe I have to pull the car around because you can't walk. So he did. I got him the keys. I actually got his wife. They came out with the car, pulled the car around. It was a Rolls Royce. So I didn't think anything of it at the time. We were just, I didn't know if he was an athlete or so. I know he wasn't a basketball player for sure, but I stereotyped. Maybe, played football, maybe he was into something sports related. I didn't know. So a few weeks passed, his ankle got better. And essentially, I was wearing a Miami basketball t-shirt. And he goes, so you like the Heat? I said, you know what, I do. I like LeBron James. At the time, they were playing San Antonio in the finals. It was like Game 4, and they were playing in Miami. And he goes, listen, I have tickets to box seats to the American Airlines Arena. Would you like to go? I said, you know what? I can't. I just moved into a new house. It wouldn't be right. I was literally in the transition phase that day. And he goes, okay, no problem. So 2 days passed, and we played again. Same question. You sure you want to go over? And I said, yeah. I can't. I wish I could. But he was being very nice, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't know if I would have owed him anything outside of just being nice. So, again, a week passed, and I was wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers t-shirt. And he asked me, he goes, listen, do you like football? I said, yeah. He goes, well, listen, I got box seats at where the Dolphins play. And I said, listen, dude, I don't know who you are, but I'd like to know more. He goes, well, pick a place to eat breakfast tomorrow at 7 a.m. My wife and I will meet you. And then we'll kind of talk, You're very nice to me. I'd like to just, buy you breakfast. I said, no problem. So the next day we met. This was around still June, during the NBA playoffs, I remember. Essentially, he proceeded to tell me that, hey, listen, I'm a trader and an international trader. I've been doing this. I've been doing that for some umpteen years, and I decided to live in Southwest Florida. I was born in Miami, yada yada yada. My daughter wanted to graduate from the States. We were in the Dominican for the past 4 years, so we decided to land here. I'm close enough to my family, but far enough away. I said, okay, that makes sense. So we proceeded to take this path together, and he invited me over to his house for 4th of July. Now, I didn't know or have any expectations at this point because, I'm pessimistic by nature, so I didn't know what to think. And, I got to meet his mother, his brothers and sisters, his wife's family, and we had a great 4th of July. I ended up having a cookout. And I was like, we'll be friends. If anything, maybe we'll just hang out. We won't be perfect business, but I was just in the underwriting phase. I did venture capital work for the better part of 6 years at the time, and I've gone through like 150 deals, and you're sitting in a dark room with no windows. You're just like, ugh, I don't want to do that anymore. So if I'm never going to do anything with anybody again, albeit in an entrepreneurial spirit, I just want to underwrite the people. I don't want to deal with the business anymore. I'm tired of thinking about and worrying about numbers. So I took that approach, and we got to know each other. And his story was even more so amazing. But at the time I was working at a small payroll company. He was like, "Listen, I'm going to start this business, this trading business. I'm going to automate this. I'm going to build all the software, this, that, and the other thing." And I'm saying, "There's no way." But I needed to come up with $5,000 to be a part of it. And at the time, I didn't have any disposable income. I mean, I'd gone through the ringer of losing just about everything, kind of building it back. So I thought for myself for a second. It took a few days, and he was like, "Listen, I'm going to open an office." And I'm like, "Okay, great. What do you need?" He's like, "Well, I got to run a bank." I'm like, "Well, I'll take you. Hey, I got a meeting with these partners. Well, you mind if I listen in?" "Sure, no problem." I got to go to, Ace Hardware to pick up items for the office. I said, "Listen, let me take you." So I was just trying to get to know the guy in the business simultaneously. And in doing so, he was testing me out. So I had to get this money together. So I essentially was able to pull the funds together. And I gave it to him. I never signed an agreement. We never did any kind of paperwork. And I was essentially to trust him to do this stuff. And he did. I did. At the time, we had known each other long enough. I'm like, "Listen, it's $5,000 at risk. This is the least of my worries. And I've lost a lot more than that." So with that being said, we never talked about it. And in not talking about it again, I was nervous. But we were going through the process and liberating. And I was, working through my liberation in order to let go of things that I couldn't control. And I was learning. And, one thing led to another. And he shows me what he's done. And he shows me this software. He says, "Listen, you've seen the employees that I've had. You've seen the overall aspect of the managerial things that I've had to deal with. And I just built this software, and you're an owner. Congratulations." Roughly 6 months thereafter, I'm in, sitting around Southwest Florida, and he goes, "We got to move out west because we're a digital company. We can't be sitting here. God forbid if something comes through here and blows us away in terms of, a hurricane or something. So we've got to diversify. We've got to move on. We've got to create. We've got to be better." So I moved out to Las Vegas with him, and now I'm in Las Vegas, and we had the software appraised last year in April of 2016, and the software came in valued at just under $1 billion.
Oh my goodness!
Since then, we've had 3 offers on the software up to almost $7 billion that we are turning down at this particular time in our lives, believe it or not, because we know the value of it. More so, it's the golden goose that lays the golden egg. So why would we sell the golden goose for a golden egg? We are right now developing, cultivating business that's far beyond our imagination, and we're putting ourselves in a stratosphere that we really never thought we were going to be from a place or a standpoint.
All from a basketball game.
All from a pickup basketball game. And a little bit of trust and faith.
The thing that impresses me and makes me excited about your story is the fact that it's the standard, okay, I was in the right place at the right time, but you took advantage of it. You didn't just say, "Wow, that was neat," but you also said, "I'm going to take a chance and see if this was meant to be," and it sounds like it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so than just that. So listen, I'm 38 now. We'll be 38 this next month. I've had friends in my life for a majority, if not the total amount of my life. And some of them followed me down to the area in Florida, and we worked together for a period of time, and things went well, things went poorly. But, we all kind of went our separate ways, but I grew up with about 25 families. They all had children of varying age, but a lot of them in the same kind of arena. They met the guys that moved to Florida and followed me down. They met the same guy I did, right? Everybody has in life the same advantages of choices. The moral of the story, or at least in my opinion, was, they didn't know, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. There's some, arguments and maybe some feelings of animosity towards people and one another because maybe they didn't understand the process of the guy and they didn't want to know the guy, get to know the guy. And since then, and because of that, I've had fallout with some of the people in my life that I've had in it, like I just said, for the majority of it. And it's not really anything other than lessons learned. And who's truly, I guess, there's an analogy I always use, not everybody in your boat is rowing in the same direction. Some people are drilling holes because it's just the way they are and they can't get out of their own way. And it's unfortunate that I had to learn those lessons at 36, 37, but fortunate that it wasn't at 47. And just because you think something's supposed to look the way you think it's supposed to, well, you're wrong. You've got to blow that theory up in its truest form. Because wealth and opportunity and the chance to learn and educate that it's not traditional. It doesn't fit in some box. So that's really, and it was a hard lesson to learn. I had a lot of fallout, but you know what? For the better? Well, I feel so. It's a painful lesson to learn, but I feel better.
If folks want to find out more, would you be willing to talk with them about your experiences?
Yeah, I would. And I would love to educate anybody on the process and how to theoretically underwrite from the human component as well as the business component. Because, going forward, this education that I have needs to be passed on. Everybody should have the advantages that I have.
So how would they do that? How would you like them to contact you?
They can reach out via email. I have a business email only. It's Vito, Vito, P as in Paul, at Billion, BILLION, tech, TECH, lab, LABS.com.
Well, Vito, I want to thank you so much for sharing that story. I know the listeners are going to appreciate it as well.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That was something very different from anything we've ever had on the show before. If you missed Vito's email, I will have it in the show notes. Again, I want to thank you, Vito, for sharing your story. If you want to tell your story on Ron's Amazing Stories, there's no time like the present. Folks have been sending them in, and I want to say I appreciate every single one I get. My motto is, if I can play it, then by golly, I will play it. But you have to send it. Just head to ronsamazingstories.com, click on the contact button, and tell me what you have. One thing that continues to impress me as I listen to the stories written in the 50s was how grounded they were in terms of family and moral values. Today's story is a good example of this. You could just listen to this one and be entertained by the action and suspense. But if you take that one extra step and listen, there's more here than meets the ear. Our story comes from the classic science fiction series X-1, which aired on NBC from 1955 until 1958. A small band of humans aboard a spaceship has been captured by enemy aliens and must work out a way to retake the vessel. Now, this one's based on a short story written by Isaac Asimov and was first published in Galaxy magazine in October of 1951. It is called C-Chute, and it first aired on X-1, February 8, 1956.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, The C-Chute, by Isaac Asimov.
We were on our way home to Earth when it happened. 6 of us, coming home as passengers aboard the merchant spaceship Starfire. At the start of the Second Interstellar War, the one between Earth and the planet Chloro. And then it happened.
Now hear this. Condition red. Condition red. We are under attack from a Chloran battlecruiser. All hands forward to battle stations. Passengers will remain confined to the after cabin. Condition red. We are being attacked.
The interception by the Chloran cruiser, the murderous running jewel of energy blasts and force field defenses. We huddled in the passengers' after cabin, terrified, not knowing how the battle was going. We could hear the desperate bursts of steam through the steering tubes as the Starfire maneuvered to dodge the enemy attacks. And then...
Now what?
the beginning of the end, you might call it.
Well, what does it mean, Stuart? You were a space pilot?
It means our generators have been drained of energy. We can't fight back.
But,
All right,
monsieur,
don't worry. They won't destroy us. They need our ship too badly. They'll simply board us and take over.
But what about the crew?
The crew, Colonel? If they have any sense, they'll surrender. If they choose to fight, they'll... Now, they're coming aboard. Now, be very still.
Oh, Mother in heaven, help us.
Be still. If only those fools on deck will surrender without a struggle.
They are fighting.
Yes, it's the end.
We've got to help them.
All right, don't open that door.
We just can't let them die.
You can't help them.
I'm going.
Stop him! All right.
Aristide.
Shut the door quickly!
Aristide, my brother.
That poor fool.
I'll get them. My brother, I swear to you, I'll get them.
Yeah, you better cover his body.
The brutes. The monstrous green-skinned brutes.
They're no more brutes than we are, Colonel. This is a war.
Are you defending them?
I'm merely pointing out the facts.
I ought to strangle you.
Why not save it for the Chloros?
I will. I promise you I will.
Well, they're probably deciding right now what to do with us. We might as well settle down and wait. We sat there, the 5 of us, and listened while the Chloran invaders killed off the members of the Starfire's crew. Among us was Colonel Anthony Wyndham, an old Colonel Blimp type with a lame leg. Wyndham had spent his life in the militia back on Earth, but had never seen a battle. There was Demetrius Poliorkitis, who had just watched his brother being killed by a chlorocarbonizer. Poli was a huge man. He and his brother had tried truck farming in Arcturus and given it up after 2 seasons. Then there was LeBlanc, a sensitive, frightened young man of 22, and Randolph Mullen, who looked like somebody's caricature of a bookkeeper. A mild, balding, milquetoast little man. And there was myself, John Stewart. I was the only one who'd ever had contact with the Chloro people. I had a pair of artoplasm hands to prove it.
It is quiet now.
Yeah, they've finished with the crew.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes, Mr. Mullen.
what do you think will happen next?
Well, they'll put a prize crew of 2 aboard and take us to one of their home planets as prisoners of war.
Only 2 of the Chloros will stay aboard.
Well, 2 is all they'll need. Why, Colonel? You thinking of leading a gallant raid to retake the ship?
Well, simply a point of information, Dasher.
All right, then let me give you another point of information. If you want to commit suicide quick, just open that bulkhead door. 3 steps inside, you'd fall on your face.
But why?
Don't you smell anything, LeBlanc? Get close to the door.
It smells like gas.
Yeah, it is gas. Chlorine gas. They breathe it like we breathe oxygen. They've chlorinated the whole crew's compartment. One big whiff of that and we'd all be dead. So just forget about rushing the chloros.
How do you know so much about their habits, Stuart?
I lived on a chloro planet for 6 months. You see these hands? They were mangled in the oxygenating machinery of my own quarters. They grew these artoplasm things and operated. They're weak, but at least I have hands again.
Monsieur Stewart,
Yeah.
will they kill us?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because in their own way, they're gentlemen. Probably will be interned for the duration.
You call them gentlemen. After they killed my brother in cold blood, you call them gentlemen.
You know, Stuart, you sound more and more like a blasted Greenie sympathizer. Blasted, man. Where's your patriotism and loyalty?
My loyalty is where it belongs, with honesty and decency, regardless of the shape of the being it appears in. This is a ridiculous war. Why are we fighting these people? We can live only on planets with oxygen, and oxygen is poison to them. They can live only in chlorine atmosphere, which is deadly to us. Yet we're fighting them over a bunch of worthless asteroids that neither of us can live on comfortably.
Well, it's a matter of principle.
It's a matter of stupid pride and greed.
I don't like what you say, mister.
Why not?
Because you talk too nice about these greeny scum. They're good to you, eh? Well, they weren't good to my brother. They killed him. And I think maybe I'll kill you, you rotten greeny...
Mullen, grab him.
I can't break his hold. They are coming in.
Foley, let him go.
They saved your life this time. But when I'm finished with them...
Quiet. I think they're opening the lock.
Well, don't get between us.
Foley, don't lose your head. They'll kill us all.
I greet you, Earthmen.
The chloro was not a pleasant sight to anyone unused to it. He was about the height of an Earthman, but the top of him was just a green stalk with eyes. He was still wearing a spacesuit to protect him from the oxygen in our compartment. In one of his tendrils, he carried a chloran gun. As he stood in the doorway, I could see Polyarchetes' eyes begin to glisten with rage. Then, with a bellow like a huge bull, he threw himself at the chloro.
He is not dead, merely temporarily paralyzed. You five will remain together as prisoners of war. We expect to reach our own planet within several weeks, your time. There you will be interned for the duration of the war. If any of you attempts to leave this compartment, we shall be forced to destroy you. That is all I have to communicate.
Hadn't we better do something for Mr. Polyarchetes?
Oh, he'll be all right. Just hoist him up on the cot. That's the idea. Hi, Polly. Can you hear me, you stupid brute?
His voice is coming back.
Yeah. Now, I know what's going on in that thick skull of yours, Polly. You think that when the paralysis wears off, you'll ease your feelings by slamming me around some more. Well, if you do, it'll be curtains for all of us.
How do you mean, sir?
None of you know the chloros the way I do. Unlike us, they assume automatically that any group of Earthmen they find together comprises a biological grouping, like an ant colony. The result is that they consider the group as something holy. Now, they'd never break us up. And if one of us did any harm to another, they'd have us all executed as a bunch of chloro-type perverts, a non-functioning group. So call all the names you want, but keep your hands to yourself or we're finished. My little speech had a sobering effect on the group. For the next 24 hours, we did little besides eat our rations and think. I tried to evaluate them. The colonel I had figured for an old windbag. Polyarchetes was a hate-filled brute. LeBlanc would crack first. He was like a frightened child. Mullen was a nonentity, a mouse instead of a man. Everything he did seemed prissyish. His voice had the quality of furtively rustling underbrush.
How long long did you say the trip would take, Mr. Stewart?
Well, the chloro said about 2 weeks.
Gentlemen, if I may interrupt.
Colonel?
Now, it has occurred to me that perhaps you know of some weakness that might enable us to overcome these chloros.
The only weakness they've got is that they can't stand oxygen.
Oh, but there must be some way to get the best of them, man. After all, there are only
Now, look,
two.
Before I answer, Colonel, I have to know your motive. Is it to save your own skin or help Earth win the war?
Oh, dash it, man, to help our side, of course. What we're looking for is the way to save the ship for Earth without losing our lives, yes?
Well, all right, let's take a vote then. LeBlanc?
I have a wife waiting on Earth, Mr. Stewart. I do not want to die.
Uh-huh. Hero number 1. What about you, Mullen?
I don't see how we could accomplish it without...
Hero number 2. Well, Poliorketis?
When I kill Chloros, it will be with my bare hands. On their planet, I will kill dozens, I promise you.
3 down. Well, Colonel, don't you want to march to glory, an old militiaman like you?
Your attitude is very cynical and unbecoming, Stuart.
I see. Well, then I'll have to blow the ship up myself.
Stuart!
Don't worry, Colonel. I don't intend to be a dead hero.
Of course, there is a way we might do it.
What did you say, Mr. Mullen?
There's a spacesuit and magnetic boots stored in that locker over there. We might be able to reach the control room from the outside of the ship.
The outside? But how would we get outside?
Well, this compartment has a C-Chute. It must.
What is a C-Chute?
A C-Chute, my boy, is a casualty chute. It doesn't get talked about much, but all the main compartments have them. They're just little airlocks down which you slide a corpse. Burial in space.
Oh, blast it, Mullen. Suppose you did get outside. How could you re-enter the ship?
Through the steam tubes, the ones they use to guide the ship.
Wait a minute, Mullen. What do you know about steam tubes? I thought you were a bookkeeper.
Well, on Arcturus, I got interested in spaceship models. I studied all about them. On my own time, of course.
Yeah, naturally.
At any rate, I learned that the steam tubes have an access vent directly to the control room for repairs and so forth.
And the chloros, they are in the control room.
What do you think, Stuart?
Well, it's a video sort of idea, but it might just work. We could get permission from the chloros to open the C-Chute and bury Polly's brother. And one of us could slip into it, work forward, and climb up through the steam tube. The question being, which one?
What about you? You with your loud talk and your sneers.
I'm no hero, Paulie. I've already said that. My object is to stay alive. The steam tube let go while you were in it, you'd be broiled like a lobster. Now, how about the colonel here?
If I were younger, blasted, I'd trounce you. You know very well with my injured leg.
Yeah, of course. Not to mention my artificial hands. Well, now, what unfortunate deformities do the rest of us have? Paulie?
You just keep talking, Mr. Big Mouth, and pretty soon we'll kick your teeth in.
Of course, that's your standard reply to everything, isn't it? LeBlanc, will you do it?
I cannot.
Not even to get back to Denise?
Please, I cannot.
LeBlanc needn't go. I'll do it.
What?
After all, it is my idea.
Wait a minute. Are you serious, Mullen?
Yes.
Well, how? I don't understand. Why? Why you?
Well, it seems no one else will do it.
But that's no reason, man.
I can't think of any other.
Look here. Do you really intend to go through with it, sir?
Yes, I suppose I do.
Well, dash it, man. Let me shake your hand. You're an Earthman, by heaven. You do this thing and win or die. I'll bear witness for you.
It was quite a moment. Mullen the mouse had suddenly turned into a man. He just stood there awkwardly while the colonel puffed his hand. Poliorketis seemed stunned. LeBlanc was wide-eyed. And I? Well, I was in a peculiar position, one in which I rarely found myself. I had absolutely nothing to say.
That ought to bring them.
I hear one.
What is it, Earthman?
One member of our unit is dead, as you know. We request permission to jettison his body out of the casualty chute.
You may do so.
You'll have to open the chute lock from the control room.
I will do so. Is there anything else?
No. Nothing else, thank you. Oh, boy. All right, come on now. We'll have to work fast. Mullen, get into a spacesuit from the emergency locker. Polly, help him on with those magnetic boots.
Hurry.
I'm working as fast as I can. The arm, there.
All right, give me the helmet.
The helmet.
Okay. Now, Mullen, you better scratch your nose if you have to. It's your last chance for a while.
What about radio contact?
You can talk to us. We'll listen in on the helmet set in one of the other suits. The chloros won't have their set on the interphone frequency.
Wait a moment.
What for?
Dash it, what's he going to use for a weapon? He isn't big enough to fight them barehanded.
Ah, no, that's true. Well, how about one of those oxygen cylinders?
Good idea. Use it to bash them over the head.
Now, give him one of the cylinders equipped with a reducing valve. Now, look, Mullen, if your magnetic boots fail and you start drifting away into space, open this valve. See that? Now, you can use it like a miniature jet and try to blow yourself back to the ship. Understand?
I think so.
Well, I only hope it works. All right, here goes the helmet.
You'd better hurry. The light is on over the C-Chute.
Yeah. All right. That means they've opened the lock. Here. Now, can you hear me? Oh, LeBlanc, give me that other space helmet.
Yes, here.
Let me switch on the radio. Can you hear me, Mullen?
I hear you.
Fine. Plenty of air?
Air's okay.
Uh-huh. Polly, open the C-Chute. Okay, now help him in. Are you ready?
Ready?
Well, good luck. Close the chute. Pull the ejector valve. Now! He's out. Oh, God help him.
The light is out.
Yeah. The chloros have closed the chute lock.
I don't suppose he has much of a chance.
No.
Do you think he knew it?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Should I try to contact him on the radio?
Yes, I think... Wait a minute.
What is it?
Listen, the chloros coming.
Good Lord. He's sure to miss Mullen.
Yeah, wait. Polly, get your brother's body on the cot. Put a blanket over it. Pretend it's Mullen asleep. Polly, for heaven's sake.
My brother.
All right, you've got to do it, man. It's our only chance. Listen, if Mullen could go out there and risk
Very
his...
well. I will do it.
Earthman,
Yes.
you have jettisoned the body?
Yes.
Good. Is there something further we can do?
No, We are very tired. Our grief is very great at losing one of our unit. We would like to rest alone.
I will respect your wishes. I see that one of your units sleeps already.
Yes, Mr. Mullen was overcome with grief.
I leave you.
Oh, brother. Polly, I thought sure you were going to rush him.
With that brave little guy out there. What do you think I am, anyway? And to think I laughed at him makes me ashamed.
Yeah, I guess I've been saying some things that maybe weren't too funny. I owe all of you an apology.
Do you think it's safe to try the radio?
Yeah, we better. Hello? Hello, Mullen. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Where are you?
I'm standing on the outside of the ship.
All right, now take care. One misstep and you'll be marooned in space. Now, can you find the steam tubes?
I think I've found one of them already. I can feel the rim. I just hope it doesn't let go when I get inside.
Be careful.
I'm going into the tube now. I can feel the ladder rungs I used to repair the inside.
Yeah, well, keep in contact.
I'm in the tube now.
Good Lord. They've let go with a blast.
Oh, well, it may be the starboard tubes. Mullen!
Still here. They used the other tubes, fortunately. Now, if they don't try to correct for over-deflection...
Yeah, keep moving.
I seem to be... Wait. Yes, I'm at the end of the tube now, where it opens into the control room.
Good. Now, look, there's a small metal door there. Can you feel it?
Yes, I'm afraid it's locked from the other side.
Oh.
I can't budge it.
Mullen, listen to me.
Stewart, I'm scared. I'm terribly scared.
Yeah, all right. Now, hang on. Don't blow up. Listen to me. Are you listening?
Yes.
Take the spare oxygen tank. Bang on the metal door that leads to the control room. The chloros are bound to hear you. When one of them comes to investigate, try to hit him with a cylinder. Now aim for the stalk on top of his body. Try to blind him. Will you do that?
I'll try.
Well, now go on. Only one can come. The other will stay at the controls. Now start banging. Any luck?
No, Wait, I hear something. Something's opening the lock. The door now. I hear... Ah!
Mullen! Mullen, what happened? Mullen, can you hear me? Mullen! 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 Oh, it's no use. They must have gotten him.
Yeah, he was one brave little guy, that one.
But suppose they have just got him in the control room. I mean, maybe he's not dead.
Well,
then maybe one of us could rush them. We could bang on the door and jump the chloro.
Well, the first guy would be a cinch to die.
Well, I would be willing to take the chance.
You?
Why not? I could try.
Not you. I'm the strongest. I do it.
Now listen, you chaps. I'm an old man. I've got nothing to live for anyway. Suppose I throw myself at the ray gun.
Wait a minute, what's going on here? 20 minutes ago, there wasn't one of you who'd risk his little finger to get us out of here. Now you're falling all over each other.
Maybe Mr. Mullen teaches us a lesson, huh?
Yeah. Okay, Polly, give me the wrench. I'll start banging on the door. They say that selflessness is contagious. I guess maybe it is. I'd been a cynic all my life, a man who believed in nothing. Well, I'd come face to face with 4 human beings who proved that I'd been living a lie. I knew what I was going to do now. When the chloro came to investigate our compartment, I had it all planned. If only my poor, weak hands would hold out long enough. Ready?
Ready.
Here goes. That should bring him.
Try again.
Wait, listen. Shh. It's at the door.
Get ready.
It's opening the lock.
For poor old Mullen now.
Steady. No!
Let him have it!
Wait! Stop it! It's not the chloro!
Wait!
Good Lord. It's Mullen.
Get the helmet off. That's it. All right, now lift. Mullen, are you all right?
I seem to be quite all right.
Well, the chloros.
Both dead. At least I hope so.
What happened?
Well, I banged on the steam tube hatch and a chloro opened it.
Yeah?
I hit him with a cylinder. It blinded him, I guess, but didn't kill him. He grabbed me and pulled me into the cabin. In the struggle, he broke my transmitter. That's why I couldn't talk to you. Finally, I managed to club him down.
Well, what about the other one?
The other one almost got me. It must have heard the scuffle and came into the cabin with a ray gun. What I did, I guess, was pure reflex. The cabin atmosphere was chlorine, of course, and the greenie didn't have a spacesuit on. Uh-huh. So I just turned on the oxygen valve in that spare tube. It was like spraying an insect with poison.
Well, you're a brave man, Mullen. I'd have been scared to death. Mullen, what is it? Mullen. An hour later, false hands and all, I was at the controls of the ship, headed for Earth. We'd gotten rid of the chlorinating equipment and restored the oxygen naturally. Mullen was asleep in the cabin under a sedative. Or so I thought until the cabin door opened. Mullen, for Pete's sake, get back to bed.
No, I'm quite all right now, really. Do you mind if I watch how you operate the ship?
No, not at all. Sit down. You know, I guess I owe you an apology. I didn't think too much of you.
That's your privilege.
No, it isn't anybody's privilege, Mullen, to despise another. For years now, I've abandoned hope of finding any decency in human beings. I owe you a vote of thanks.
You embarrass me, Mr. Stewart. I didn't do it for any heroic reasons, I assure you. Far from it.
Well, why did you do it, Mullet? That puzzles me very much.
Well, Mr. Stewart, I'm a bookkeeper. 17 years ago, I left Earth to work on Arcturus. I never made much impression on anybody on Earth, although I wanted very much to have people like me. Well, about a year ago, I started to write to my family again. Don't ask me why. And then I asked for a leave of absence to go home after 17 years.
Well, I still don't understand. It wasn't patriotism or love of a woman or money or any of those things. What was it?
Mr. Stewart, haven't you ever been homesick?
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features A Gun for Dinosaur by L. Sprague de Camp, a story of hunters in the bloodiest and most ferocious arena of all prehistoric Earth, where hunting reptile heavyweights is no job for human lightweights. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The C-Chute, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by Isaac Asimov and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Lyle Sudrow, Stan Early, Bob Hastings, Mercer McLeod, Danny Ocko, and John Gibson. Your announcer, Bill McCord. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
My loyalty is where it belongs, with honesty and decency. As I mentioned at the top, the author of our story was Isaac Asimov. When he heard the X-1 version of his story, C-Chute, he said, "The actor playing the main character, Mullen, sounded exactly as I imagined he would." This was a rare acknowledgement by a very famous author, and I'm sure it meant a lot to the production staff. The story itself is full of action and suspense, but there's so much more there if you listen. Did you hear the change in heart of the crew? The respect the aliens had for the human religious rites? And the ideas around war? I'm going to let you stew on that one as we move on to our new segment, A Moment in Time. The date is July 14th, 1940, and this is A Moment in Time. What you're about to hear is one of my favorite time capsules so far. The story is being told from the viewpoint of a British reporter. Listen carefully to his tone as he tells you about the German attack on a British convoy.
Well, now the Germans are dive bombing a convoy out into sea. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 German dive bombers, Junkers 87s. There's one going down on his target now. Bomb. No, missed the ships. He hasn't hit a single ship. There are about 10 ships in the convoy, but he hasn't hit a single one. And there you can hear our anti-aircraft going at them now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are about 10 German machines dive bombing a British convoy, which is just out to sea in the Channel. I can't see anything. No, we thought he got a German one had been got then, but now the British fighters are coming up. Yes, here they come in absolute steep dive, and you can see their bombs actually leave the machines and come into the water. You can hear our own guns going like anything now. I'm looking round now, I can hear machine gun fire, but I can't see our Spitfires. There must be somewhere there. Oh, here's one coming down now. There's one coming down in flames. Somebody's hit a German, and he's coming down. There's a long streak. He's coming down completely out of control, a long streak of smoke. The man's bailed out by parachute. The pilot's bailed out by parachute. He's a Junkers 87, and he's going slap into the sea, and there he goes, smash! Terrific clump of water, and there was a Junkers 87. There was only one man got out by parachute, so presumably there was only a crew of one in it. Now then, there's a terrific mix-up now over the channel. It's impossible to tell which are our machines and which are the Germans. There's one definitely down in this battle, and there's a fight going on. There's a fight going on. You can hear the little rattles of machine gun bullets. That was a bomb, as you may imagine. There's one Spitfire. There are the little bursts. There's another bomb dropping. Yes, it dropped. They missed the convoy. No, they haven't hit the convoy in all this. The sky is absolutely patterned now with bursts of anti-aircraft fire, and the sea is covered with smoke where the bombs have burst. But as far as I can see, there's not one single ship hit. And there is definitely one German machine down. And looking across the sea now, I can see the little white dot of parachute as the German pilot is floating down towards the spot where his machine crashed with such a big fountain of water about 2 minutes ago. Well, now, everything is peaceful again for the moment. The Germans, who came over in about 20 dive bombers, delivered their attack on the convoy, and I think they've made off as quickly as they came. Yes, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Germans herring back towards France now for all they can go, and here are our Spitfires coming after them. There's going to be a big fight, I think, out there, but it will be too far away for us to see. Of course, there are lots more German machines up there. Can you see, Phil? Yes, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on top layer. 1, 2, 3. There's 2 layers of German machines. They were all, I think, I couldn't swear to it, but they were all, I think, Junkers 87s. Where are 2 more parachuters?
Flying sideways.
No, I think they're Seagulls. Yes. You can hear the anti-aircraft batteries still going. Well, that was a really hot little engagement while it lasted. No damage done except to the Germans, who lost one machine, and the German pilot is still on the end of his parachute. They're appreciably nearer the sea than he was. I can see no boat going out to pick him up. So he'll probably have a long swim ashore. But that was a very unsuccessful attack on the convoy, I must say.
Now, did you think the reporter got a bit carried away by excitement? The world sure did, and it raised quite a bit of controversy in its day. Not very fair or balanced, but he sure told a good story. As you know, we've been playing the 5-Minute Mysteries now for quite some time. I'm happy, but yet sad to report that we've played through all the known episodes except 2. This one that I'm about to play, and the one that I don't think any amount of editing will help. My question to you is, do we restart from the beginning, or shall I find something else? Please let me know, okay? For now, here is the last 5-Minute Mystery.
Another 5-Minute Mystery.
This 5-Minute Mystery is being brought to you by Toadstools and Odyssey. One can kill you, and the other can fix bad recordings. Well, almost fix. If you have a murder to complete, Odyssey is a bad choice. It will take out pops, clicks, background noises, and even scratches. But it leaves you alive and well. So remember, Odyssey cures recordings like the one that you were listening to.
An anniversary party is going on at the Brown household around the corner. One of the guests, George Taylor, pauses while eating his dessert to say,
Best lemon chiffon pie I've ever tasted, Mary.
Really?
I wish my wife could do as well.
Oh, thank you.
Say, it doesn't look as if Sam is appreciating it much, though.
Goodness, is my cooking that fast? Sam, your head's practically in your plate. I guess he's fallen asleep ever so night, and I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Sam, sit up. This is dreadful. I'd better shake him. Sam! Sam!
Wait, can't he? He's dead.
How do you do? I'm Sergeant Barker, the Homicide Division.
Oh.
He's one of my boys, Mike Grady.
Where's the body?
In the dining room at the table. We didn't move him.
Mm-hmm. Now, might as well be comfortable, everybody. This'll take just a little while. Dead, all right. Peaceful, too. Who's Mrs. Sam Brown?
I am.
Do you mind telling me what happened?
I guess not. I'm so shocked I don't know where to begin or what to tell you.
Well, you might as well begin by telling me what you served for dinner.
Well, we had soup first.
Soup? What kind?
Mushroom, then roast chicken, green peas, mashed potatoes, dessert, and coffee. But I don't see how this could mean anything.
Just routine, Mrs. Brown. Did Mr. Brown eat everything?
Yes, he did. He seemed to fall asleep over his coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tried to wake him, I found he'd had a heart attack.
Yeah. That'll be all for a few minutes, Mrs. Brown. We want to take a look around. Notice anything about this table, Mike?
No, Chief, I can't say as I do.
Neither do I. Let's look in this kitchen here. Orderly person, isn't she? Stacked dishes after each course.
Yes, and here's the silverware over here. Look, Chief. One of these soup spoons has turned black.
Black? Let me see it. The only spoon that's tarnished, too. Well, I was beginning to think it was a heart attack or a perfect murder, but this silver soup spoon is evidence enough. Mrs. Brown?
Yes, Sergeant Parker?
I'm sorry to interrupt your little party, Mrs. Brown, but I'm sure your guests won't mind.
I don't understand.
You will, Mrs. Brown, you will. You see, you're under arrest for the murder of your husband.
Do you know why Sergeant Barker accused Mrs. Brown of murder? In a moment, we'll hear the solution. But first, a word from our sponsor.
So, we have a mushroom caper. Did you see how I did that? Pretty funny, huh? The question is, how does the detective know? I'm guessing the black spoon is the key, but let's head back and see. I am with it today. This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by Toadstools and Odyssey. One can kill, the other not so much. Make sure you're using the right product for the right job, or your results may suffer.
And now, back to our story.
Sergeant Barker, how do you know it was homicide? Well, Mrs. Brown took careful pains to wash the soup pans and soup dishes before she served the rest of the meal.
Yes, I can see that.
But she forgot one thing, to wash the silver soup spoons. What she didn't realize was that an hour later, by the end of dinner, the spoon her husband had used to eat his toadstool soup would give her away. She didn't know that toadstools make silver turn black. Mrs. Brown almost committed the perfect murder, but she forgot to wash one spoon.
Okay, can toadstools kill? Yes, certain types have nasty properties. Can they turn silver spoons black? Well, that is an old Italian wives' tale. They would place a silver coin in cooking mushrooms. If it turned black, they were toxic. The problem is both types can turn silver black, and both types don't do anything at all. Oh dear. This 5-minute mystery was brought to you by Toadstools, and let's leave it at that. Podcast for this week. My thanks to Vito Paparello for sharing his story with us today. Next week is the 4th of July, and I'll be taking the week off from podcasting. Not to worry, as always, I will have a replay for you from the archives. Have a safe and happy 4th. If you want to keep up with what's happening on Ron's Amazing Stories, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or sign up for the weekly newsletter. All the links you're gonna need and access to the blog can be found at ronsamazingstories.com. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories. Happy birthday, America.